which again, that's this room with that back partition taken out. So we'll either be in here or in there, depending upon which way the seats are facing. In total, it's a 150-point exam, so it's basically a double test. There are 88 questions in total. The majority of those questions are multiple choice and matching. And so what we will do for those is we will do those two sections on Scantron, but don't worry about getting the right Scantron form or anything like that. The one-time thing, I've got Scantrons up in my office just for this purpose. This is the only multiple choice exam, Scantron exam I give the entire semester. No point in having you buy it yourself. So don't worry about the Scantrons. I got it. So multiple choice in the matching sections will be done on Scantron. The free response and bonus question will be done on the page itself, and I will scan and upload those into Gradescope so that you know how you did. And so by the end of all of this, you will have an exam score. What I'll do is the first question in the Gradescope will just be a bulk multiple choice score, and I'll just put in how many questions you got right. So you won't know which ones you got right, but you'll know how many points you earned. And that way, in the Gradescope, you'll know how many points out of 150 you earned. The only thing that is left in the grade book is the critical thinking assignment that was due on Friday, which I will start working on today or tomorrow, getting those out so that you have a pretty clear picture walking into the final where you stand. And the homework assignment that is due tonight, plus two other things that are less in my control and more in your control. First one is if you have any work, again, I started today with this. If you have any zeros in the book for homework or quiz, go ahead and try to take those tonight. I will give you 75% credit for that tonight if you turn it in by the deadline tonight. The other part is the lab, and that's up to Mr. Miller to give me updated lab totals for you. So when that happens, that will probably cause an adjustment to your grade, but that one's out of my control. That's really based on your performance and how quickly he gets that grade to me. But once it's in, it'll be in, and we'll have a really clear picture. And so that is one of the advantages to having the Friday final is pretty much everything will be graded by that point in time. So that's between you and me. So I that one I don't have a good answer for. You'd have to talk with him about what your options are and what he's willing to let you do. Like I said, you should have a pretty good idea of where you stand in the course when you come in here Friday morning. And if you need something more detailed from me in terms of, okay, what do I need to get on the final to get a C? What do I need to get a B, to get an A, whatever the case may be, I can let you know pretty specifically, probably by midweek, what that's going to look like. But in terms of the final exam stuff, again, this is the breakdown. Now, the multiple choice and the matching, and then these other two sets of questions, for example, most of that is taken directly from the old exams. Not all of it is, but some of it is. I was mentioning that earlier here. So the best source of study that you have are your old exams themselves. So if you haven't logged into Gradescope in a while, Gradescope's not just a means for me to tell you what your raw score is. Inside Gradescope, there is a key that tells you what all the correct answers are and how to calculate them in the case of the ones that are calculated. What specific steps I was looking for to give you partial credit in the event that you actually needed the partial credit. What do you need to bring? Still have your periodic table from back in chapter 4, all the stuff that we wrote on it. Bring it with you. You are allowed either three 3x5 note cards or one 8.5 by 11 paper sheet with notes. So that resource card that I was letting you use for each of the hourly exams, you can make one here. If you would prefer to do it a different way with the sheet of paper, you can. The only caution that I would bring about to you is make sure that you can read what you wrote. I've had some students that try to get real clever in the past, type out everything in size 6 font, and then day of the test, they're holding it up to their eyes like this, trying to figure out what exactly they wrote on the sheet in the first place. Don't get so far ahead of yourself. An 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper is a lot of paper. You can get pretty much every relevant piece of information, every equation onto that sheet of paper in normal 12 size font and be completely okay. You want to handwrite it? Even better. You can do that. Don't get carried away with trying to do too much, trying to get an extra edge that you really don't need. You will also need a calculator. And you will need a pencil for the Scantron. Scantron does not pick up pen. It does not pick up any pencil markings that are not dark enough. But if you try to use black pen, it doesn't detect black pen. Yes, sir. You're allowed to use the paper. Take that for what it means. Yeah, you can use both sides, just like you can use both sides of the 3x5 notebook. Yeah. Well, I think if you came in with a 3x5 poster board, it might look a little suspicious. Hey, everybody, there's Josh's note card. Yeah, 8.5 feet by 11 feet. Yeah, that's about the size of that periodic table poster there. That might look a little suspicious loading that into your car or taking that out. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to take my chemistry test. Just for the comedy. All right. Well, if you do, I'll just post it up there. Yeah. Put it up where everybody can see it. If you copy something down wrong and everybody gets the question wrong, we'll all know who to blame. So everything on this list is stuff that you're allowed to bring. And again, nothing here is new or different. This is basically what you've been allowed on every exam. The only difference is because it's a longer exam, I'm making more accommodations because there's more content to cover. That being said, on the exam itself, there's no reference table, there's no reference sheet. The only thing that I will give you is either in the question itself or otherwise is a table of conversions for doing things like converting between inches and feet or meters and yards or anything like that. So if there are any kind of conversion questions like we saw in chapter 2, I'll make sure that you have those English to metric conversions at the ready. So you don't need to worry about putting those on your page. All right, any questions so far? All right, so the other big reference material that's available to you is this practice final exam. So this practice final exam, this is one of my old exams. This is actually, I used this exam for about 6 years. And the format is, well, very, very similar. There is a multiple choice section that is relatively extensive, 50 questions instead of 68. There's a matching section here and here and here. And then there is a short answer, fill in the blank, free response kind of section. Here's a question about radioactive decays. Here's a question that looks probably pretty familiar, because I think that was actually one of the ones in one of your homework assignments. Here's some other questions. Here's a phase diagram. So in terms of format, pretty darn similar. In terms of content, practically identical. And so your task for the next couple of nights is going to be, use this as a study guide, use this as a review, because you can see here, this practice final key is available, just not right now. I will release this after the review session tomorrow. So what I want you to do tonight is, if you're able to come to the review session tomorrow at 9, open up that final, try to do as much of it as you can. If you get stuck somewhere, great, bring that question with you. We'll start working on tomorrow on the stuff that we don't know the most. And if there's stuff that really sticks to you and you really have a difficult time with, that's definitely material that you want to put on that reference page so that you don't have to remember it. You don't have to sit here agonizing over memorizing that little detail. You just go straight into knowing what to do with it. So this practice final key, which again, you can't see right now, it's not in your blackboard, it's in mine. This will be released 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, right after the review session. So I would encourage you to come to the review session if you are able to. Again, it'll be 9 o'clock right here in this room. If you can't, I will try to record it as best as a review session can be recorded on Zoom. Don't know how watchable that is on YouTube, but it'll be there if you need, if you want it. Any questions from you sitting here or those of you that are still awake on Zoom? All right, I'm gonna call this one a little early then. Got 5 minutes all to yourself. For those of you that are coming to the review session, I'll see you tomorrow. Otherwise, I will see you on Friday, 8 a.m. right here. Bring your poster board. Now, so the way that this works